let's talk about your first 10 real estate investment mortgages. What's up, guys? My name is Benjamin Day. Welcome to Lionshare Bookkeeping, Landlord CFO, where we want to talk about all the shenanigans that happen inside of real estate, accounting, and finance, and et cetera, et cetera. And today, I want to talk specifically about this thing that catches a lot of newbie real estate investors and instills a lot of fear. And I want to kind of begin to dispel that. And that's this idea that you can only have 10 mortgages on rental properties or 10 mortgages on your name. And I want to begin to pull this apart because at the end of the day, we work with clients all over the country using all kinds of different strategies. And I can promise you a lot of them have way more than 10 loans on rental property. So we want to begin to help you kind of figure that out. So really, first, what I want to begin to get into is where this comes from. And the idea, first and foremost, is that there are different kinds of loans that you can get on property. Most folks, and genuinely, most folks in the mortgage industry aren't going to be aware or really savvy on the commercial side. Like commercial lending's a whole different bag. So when you go and talk to like a mortgage officer or a loan officer, they're going to say, hey, like you can get this primary residence, you can have DTI, and you can have another one if you want to. You can even have up to 4 mortgages on homes that you own. And after that, the underwriting gets a little weird, but if you're making a whole bunch of money, you could have way more than 4 properties. Up to hypothetically 10. And that's really kind of like where the knowledge kind of begins and ends in the loan officer space when it comes to more traditional lending, where you're going to go and have the white picket fence. There are so many other options out there. So we've got kind of more traditional lending, more kind of conventional lending, and then we have commercial lending. And that's where you're going to get a whole lot of traction. I want to begin to kind of walk through some tips on these mortgages and how to begin to navigate them successfully. Number 1 on our list is how more conventional, traditional mortgages end up working out. And that's where we begin to analyze your business based on, or not your business, but really your personal money effectively. We don't even analyze the business unless you're self-employed. But we analyze you personally based on your debt to income, your credit score, how much money you have for down payment. Are you a genuinely good person? Things of that nature. The bankers will run you through what they call the 5 C's of credit. And that's just kind of industry standard to make sure that the bank is safe and they're lending money in a safe way. Now, that is going to get you so far. And that's really where a lot of beginners are going to start out in those first couple of mortgages. First couple of rental properties is going down that road because you're still kind of putting your feet, like testing your toes in the water a little bit. Like you're not quite sure if you're all the way into this idea, but you sure would like to use other people's money. And if you can get it at below 5% interest, that would be awesome. And so that's what you should do fundamentally. You should go out and begin to talk to loan officers, figure out what your first couple deals will look like with them. Now, number 2 on our list is at some point you're going to graduate from this process. You're going to graduate, and honestly, it makes sense that you will graduate from this. At some point, you're going to open an official real estate LLC, and you're going to buy property inside of that LLC or whatever legal entity you choose if it's right for you. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not doing your taxes. I'm not doing your legal stuff. Go talk to professionals to get that advice. But if, hypothetically, you go and open a business to put rental property in, at that point, the business is going to have to be good for the loan, maybe in addition to you personally, and that's when a whole different set of lending criteria and options become available to you. Most of which we would consider like a professional loan or like a commercial loan. Something that is very business specific that takes your business into account, and then usually you co-sign on that until a certain point. But these commercial loans are available exclusively to businesses. They're a little more expensive, and you got to bring more of a down payment sometimes. But generally speaking, you can have as many of these loans as you want. It's for a business. Businesses aren't capped by anything except how much money they make. And so this is where this becomes really critical, we think, for real estate investors. If you can transition from just having personal houses and having some of that liability on your personal name if something goes wrong, to having rental property in a business setting where it is clearly a business. It is not like, we're not like mixing and matching business and personal. It's all set up right. You look like a professional when you walk in to get that bank loan. doors just begin to open for you. Lenders know that you're a professional. You're not just some hobbyist who watched a couple videos on the internet and decided you're going to go buy houses, but you mean business. You're taking this seriously. And again, suddenly, like inside of the 5 C's of credit, character is a really big part of that. And if you can present yourself in that sort of professional manner, you're just going to get more traction on your lending. You're going to be able to scale faster. One of our favorite ways to scale real estate businesses in the lending side, on the finance side, is through portfolio lines of credit, where you can take a whole bunch of houses and not just refinance them, but refinance them into a line of credit so you can continue to use that loan as you pay it down. You can just use it to go buy more property, make cash offers like a cash buyer, even though technically it's a line of credit. There's a lot of variability in here that you just can't get in your personal name. Even if the interest rates might be a little higher, potentially, the flexibility there is far and away the best option, we think, because so much of what real estate ends up being what we like to kind of call creative finance, which is how can you get the deal done? Okay, let's just do it that way. It's all about getting the deal done and then having that option to go do another deal or get out of it and make money throughout the process. So really, truly, as we're getting in here, like our first thing is make sure that your personal stuff is all lined up for those first couple deals, but be actively thinking about how you can begin to start doing deals, not just in your personal name, but also in the business. How can we make that transition and make it in a way that makes sense? Listen, we're covering a lot of information about how loans work. And there's so much to this where your credibility and your character and the 5 C's of lending that really depend on your financial statements. As great as the deal in the market and the potential cash flow could be, at some point, every lender is going to want to see your proof. Have you done this before? Do you know what you're doing? Is the bank taking a big risk on a newbie, or is this a pretty calculated risk on a professional? And the best way to prove that you know what you're doing is by having fantastic financial statements that lay it out for them. Here's exactly how we operate. Here's exactly how awesome we are. And here's why you should lend us money. If you want financial statements like these, you need to be doing your accounting. If you're totally lost in your accounting or you feel like your bookkeeper's not hanging in, we've put together a free masterclass that you can find in the link below, where we outline everything that you need in order to really dial in your finances, get your bookkeeping done right in as little time as possible so that you can scale your real estate business with other people's money. You can find that link in the section below. Number 3 then on our list is private money, money that doesn't come from a bank. And so much of this is really about the hype, right? Like you think, oh man, my first 10 deals have to be perfect. I have to buy 10 quads. I have 10 fourplexes and have them all rented out in great areas, all hitting the 1% rule and the 50% rule. Got to burr everything. That's where so many newbies begin to really get stuck, is they think that their first couple deals have to be perfect because they can only do 10, right? Or those first 10 are going to be the cheapest deals they ever do. And while that might be true, that may not always be true. And one of our favorite things that we like to do is begin to show people that there are plenty of investors out there that don't want rental property. They don't want to manage. They just want to put money in and get a return. And some of them don't really even care what that return is. They just want one, and they're investing for more altruistic reasons. Case in point, we've got clients who will move into a neighborhood, start flipping homes, start meeting the neighbors in that area, and the neighbors will say, hey, are you going to keep doing deals here? Because we want to see our property value go up. And if you're going to keep doing deals, we'd like to make a little money. We've got a little money. Can we lend you some money? Can we be your private money lender, give you money so you can fix up the neighborhood? And we don't particularly care what the interest rate is that we earn on that deal. This this could be you. That not all deals work like that. Not all neighborhoods are like that. But generally speaking, if somebody wants to give you money, you can now do an infinite number of deals. And so as you're thinking through, like, what about my first 10 deals? Like, they have to be perfect. No, they really don't. And you can begin to really navigate your first 10 in any particular spectrum. And we love private money for that. Private money is just kind of infinite. If the deal makes sense to all parties, then we're doing the deal. There's not a whole lot of like bank underwriting and risk assessment. You're doing that as an investor. The bank doesn't also have to come in and do that. Private money can get you there. So as you're beginning to piece together your investment plan on here, like, don't just feel like you're like pigeonholed into these 10 first deals, and don't feel like you have to take 10 in your personal name and then only then begin this kind of business journey, because you've got so much more lending possibilities. Might be a little more expensive, but the flexibility is there. The creativity is there, where doing a deal in your personal name through a traditional mortgage lender who doesn't really understand the real estate investment business may not be your best bet. So we don't want you to feel like you're locked in. You have so many options, and don't get trapped in this idea that you have to do this a certain way. You can progress however you want. If you would like to do your first 10 deals as cheap as possible, that's fine. If you'd like to do your first deal as cheap as possible with traditional money and then move into like creative finance or commercial financing, that's also fine. Whatever you need to do to get started is really going to be the biggest thing here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know in the comment section, what questions do you have? What can we answer for you to make this process seem a little bit easier? Bookkeeping is the foundation of everything that you have going on in your business, so that you can go and do incredible things in taxes and in finance and in lending. All of these things work together, and we're more than happy to outline any and all of these ideas for you so that you can go take the action you need to take. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next video.